see that we had like Sam Byer. And
Yes. Yeah.
hi.
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 Could I assume one of you is Sam Byer?
Yeah, I'm Sam, and then this is my wife Molly.
Okay. Is it Molly Byer as well?
Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome. And you are the owners and applicants of it, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome. I see that we also have Kate Meehan here from the zoning department. Welcome, Kate.
Hello.
So are we expecting anyone else to join us here on the applicant owner side, or are you all ready to proceed?
No, we're ready
It's just
whenever
us,
you
yeah.
are.
Okay, fantastic. I will need to read through our hearing script. This is basically just going to cover the procedure of the hearing. Jump into it. So this is the December 13th, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name again is David Sturkey. I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20230173. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing, unless there's been testimony or writing or letters or something like that in the form of writing that I've received prior to this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicants / owners here will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they'd have an opportunity to testify after the applicant had presented its case. I will hear from the zoning department and Ms. Meehan for any testimony in addition to her staff report. I'll have some questions along the way. I'll then go back to the buyers to respond to anything they've heard either from me or from Kate, and make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions and make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from me fully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. So last thing I need to do is swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony, making any comments, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in prior to that. So if that's you, I'll go ahead and do that collectively right now. If you could just raise your right hand, I need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so to the buyers, have either of you been through a zoning hearing before?
We have not, no.
So yeah, if you could just tell me more about the project, background you think is important, what it is that the zoning relief that you're actually requesting, and then why you think that zoning relief is appropriate. That's generally sort of the scope
Okay.
of what people cover there. So I'll turn it over to you if you're ready.
Yeah, so we own a home in Hyde Park. We have a kind of an old 1940s Cape Cod style house. We're looking to do an addition over the side of, we have our garage over which is kind of like a side patio right now. We're looking to do an addition off of that side patio, kind of fully extending it to the edge of the current garage on top of it, a single story addition to widen out our kitchen, and then put a deck on the back. The current zoning code requires I think 5 foot or 5 or 8 foot, 5 foot relief, I think, or 8 foot relief on the side, 7 foot.
Yeah.
And I think we're at, so yeah, 7 foot, and we're at 5 foot right now. So we were basically requesting that extra 2 foot relief. The building was built in the 40s, so the zoning codes were different when it was built. The addition wouldn't be extending any closer to the neighboring properties than the current garage is. So we would be basically looking to build directly on top of the existing structure that's already there. And then, yeah,
Okay.
I think that's, I don't know if there's anything more we should be covering, or if that's basically what the project is and the reasoning behind it, though.
Okay, great. The one thing I wasn't sure about as I looked through the application, that the rear deck, that it is in fact just a deck.
Yes, the rear deck would be a deck. The plan set, we had our architect and structural engineer look at doing a potential future addition off the back, which would show. So the plans do show a 2-story addition off of the back as well, but that wouldn't be happening with this project. So
Okay, got it. And so, and the deck is going to be compliant with all the the side and rear setback.
yes.
Okay, gotcha. This just only applies, the relief only applies to that new addition over the garage.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really for that 2 foot. Essentially to get that extra 2 foot, so it looks uniform across the entire structure. But
Sure. Okay. Great. I have some questions, but I think I'll wait until after Kate has a chance to provide some additional detail here if she would like.
yeah.
Sure. So, in addition to what Mr. Byer has said, the house does predate the current zoning code. And in looking at the street there on Downing Drive, just kind of doing like a survey of homes on the same side of the street, kind of up and down. It looks like the majority of those homes also have non-conforming side yard setbacks. This is an SF6 zone, so they would be required to have a minimum 7-foot side yard setback, a total of 16. But again, in looking at the street, the setbacks mostly appear to be less than 7 feet. So it looks like a lot of these homes kind of have a uniform setback of about 5 feet in the side yard. So this is certainly a condition that is existing on the street, even though it is SF6. So they would need relief to do any kind of an addition or anything on the side because they don't meet that 7-foot side yard setback requirement. And certainly it wouldn't really be feasible to, require them to, do an addition that's set another 2 feet in when the garage, comes out to the 5 feet. So that's not really practical.
Mhm.
So I think certainly we're supportive of the relief here. As Mr. Byer noted, that there will be a rear deck, but the deck will be compliant with the rear yard setback. It will not extend into the rear yard setback. So their front and rear yards are compliant with the zoning in SF6, but it's just that the side yards are non-conforming. And again, it's a condition that appears to exist, for a good part of the street.
Okay. Will the addition extend the height at all? The height of the existing roof there above the garage?
No, so currently there's a roof above the kind of the side patio deck. The roof structure will remain the same, and then it'll just kind of extend back out. So it won't go any higher, but there would just be a roof. Right now, there's no roof over the back half of the patio, so there would be a roof structure that goes off over the back half as well. So the height wouldn't change, but it would be a deeper roof.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Meehan?
I would just note that in my staff report and one of the photos, the property at 2505 Downing also does have an enclosure over the garage, which I think is very similar to what this will look like. So and I'm not sure if that was existing at the time the house was built or if that was later enclosed. The permit history didn't really tell me that. So, but it is an existing condition, and I think what the buyers propose will be very similar to what this looks like.
Speaking with our neighbors who live there at 05, it was not existing when they moved in. So that was added prior to original build.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's very similar, very similar to what we would
that
like
row
to do.
That row of houses, they were all built in the 40s. They're kind of all similar builds, and a lot of our neighbors have talked doing some kind of addition like this as just a way to add space to their living space, since they're all were built for those 1940s lifestyle. So
Right. Yeah, I did notice that just looking kind of at the photos and looking at the streetscape, that yes, it does appear a lot of those were built kind of at the same time.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. That's, I was a little confused there for a minute because in the photo figure 6, Kate, it seemed as though you were referring to the house in the middle there with
Oh, yeah.
the 2 cars. So
That
I was
one does
like,
kind of stand out, but yes,
that
I was
seems like a
referring to the one
different
to the
addition
right.
than what you
Yeah.
And it's not
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
Big massive new
it
house
won't look
there.
like that.
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
neighborhood.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else from the buyers in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, I think in general that's the project. The hope is that we could get the variance so that we could apply for the permit, and I think we're hoping to do it sometime in the spring, some kind
I
of.
think the only thing to be very straightforward of, and I'm not sure it would really affect perimeter zoning, but ours will have, the existing houses on our street that have done this are more of 3 seasons rooms. So they have kept that exterior brick wall. And I did just want to be clear that we would be the first to fully take off that existing brick wall and just enclose for more of open concept. I'm not sure that would affect anything, but just to be very clear on something that would be a little different.
It'll be a true addition versus just some people have done like a sunroom or a Four Seasons room kind of thing, and just kind of enclosed it without taking that exterior wall down. But
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that distinction.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead. Let's leave it at that. I have had a chance to review the application materials, and the staff report, and based on that and the testimony that I've heard here today, I agree with your arguments, and think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular application. I haven't actually been on the street, but I can see as I look through the street view and some of the satellite images that it is not uncommon, whether it's a 3 seasons room or a sunroom, to have the addition above the garage and some of these older homes. And so I think it's perfectly reasonable. And I'm going to approve it. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. As I look at the calendar here, I noticed that the Christmas falls within the next 2 weeks. And so, I'll do everything I can to get this to you before the end of the year. As soon as I finish the decision, I put it into PDF, and I'll email it to you and to Kate at the same time. As soon as Kate gets that email and gets that decision, she can approve the zoning permitting, and then hopefully you all can move forward.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
We appreciate that, and
of course,
for your time and
your time and energy into looking into this.
And then I guess for applying for permits, we would have to have the formal letter from you approving the variance before we would apply for the permit.
Not before you apply, but before the building plans folks will approve the permitting on their end. They need to see the zoning approval come through. So if you want, you can start that other application process for the building plans.
Okay. Did I say that correctly, Kate?
Yeah, so once I get your written decision, I can then sign off for zoning. And if building plans hasn't reviewed it and hasn't sent off any comments yet, at that point, they certainly would review it and then send any comments and make note of any revisions that are needed. But yes, at this point, they can't move forward until I have signed off for zoning. But yes, once David's decision comes through, I can sign off on your permit.
Okay. But if they haven't applied for the building permits, they can do that now before the official approval comes through.
Right. If there's any revisions or anything else, you could submit those now. I just won't be able to sign off on those until David gives this written decision.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you for your time.
Sure, of course. Good luck with the project. Hope it goes well. Happy holidays. Maybe I'll see you back if you do the rear edition sometime. But good luck with everything, and
Thank you.
you'll get an email from me in a couple weeks.
Awesome. We
Wonderful. Have a
appreciate it.
good evening.
Yeah, have good holidays.